are these people? Who are these people?
Welcome, welcome. Episode. Hold on a second. Why do I still have music in my fucking ear? All right. Welcome to the show. I don't know why I'm hearing shit in my ear, but whatever. Oh, I know why. I accidentally had it in my ear. So my name is Angel Rivera, as you can see. So that means you must be watching Angel in the Afternoon. So I hope everybody's had a great week, and I hope everybody enjoys their weekend because holy crap, it's going to be a weekend, ladies and gentlemen. At least for me. I'm pretty busy this weekend. I'm pretty busy this weekend, and I hope that everybody just needed some time to set up because, as usual, I'm always late. So there we go. I'm always late, and since I'm by myself this week, there's no guests or anything like that. So there's no guests. I'm by myself. Alex left me, which is fine because he has shit to do. I'm not like I'm upset about it, but you know, but we'll get started in a moment. I just need to send this and then we'll get started because we got a lot to fucking talk about this week's episode. So if the microphone is staticky or whatever, if there's popping, please let me know so I can move it because I'm using this microphone hand here or the arm as you can see. So just let me know if it's staticky or anything or it pops so I can move it back a little bit or I can move back in my seat. Appreciate it. And let's do that. Bear with me 1 second. I have to send this out. There we go. So we are ready to go. So we got Steph. Hey, how you doing? Got a busy week or weekend. So yep, it's going to be a long weekend because right now I got this show, then I got Pro Wrestling Talk on Saturday, 8 o'clock Eastern, and and hopefully we can get through this real quick. But seriously though, it's time to start the show. I'm just going to start with some breaking news, as I'm sure everybody knows. RFK Jr. dropped out today, and he's endorsed Donald Trump. So, yeah, I hope I saved this. I got so many fucking tabs pulled up that I can't even find my RFK Jr. stuff because it literally just broke. All right, thank you. I mean, just because I had some popping issues last week. Everybody knows. And yes, I fixed the microphone arm, which I had issues with last week, at least last Saturday. I did manage to fix it, so and I didn't save it. Oh God, I'll get to that in a moment. But okay, let me go. Bear with me 1 second. I've been pretty busy today, so as usual, so it's very difficult for me to. All right, where is it? Why can I find this video? No, I don't want the full speech. It's an hour long, and I have no interest in listening to Kennedy for an hour. So, where is that fucking video? I can't find a video where he endorses Trump for some reason. But yeah, but I digress. We're just gonna play the shit that we're gonna play. Hey, how are you, Earl? Thank you for joining us. Make sure you like. please subscribe, because holy shit, do I need the subscribers. But seriously, though, thank you for watching. Just bear with me 1 second while I get my bearings here so I can start. Because as usual, I'm pretty late. So if I ever properly prepare for a show, then maybe we'll be just fine. But of course, I didn't. All right, so let's start with this bucket because I can't find the specific video that I'm looking for. Thank you very much. RFK Jr. promises to end the chronic disease epidemic with Trump's backing. So this is a whole spiel that he has about ending the disease epidemic. So
If I'm given the chance to fix the chronic disease crisis and reform our food production, I promise that within 2 years, we will watch chronic disease burden lift dramatically. We will make Americans healthy again. Within 4 years, America will be a healthy country. We will be stronger, more resilient, more optimistic, and happier. I won't fail in doing this. Ultimately, the future, however it happens, is in God's hands and in the hands of the American voters and those of President Trump. If President Trump is elected and honors his word, the vast burden of chronic disease that now demoralizes and bankrupts the country will disappear. This is a spiritual journey for me. I reached my decision through deep prayer, through hard-nosed logic, and I asked myself, what choices must I make to maximize my chances to save America's children and restore national health? I felt that if I refused this opportunity, I would not be able to look myself in the mirror, knowing that I could have saved lives of countless children and reversed this country's chronic disease epidemic. I'm 70 years old. I may have a decade to be effective. I can't imagine that President Harris would allow me or anyone to solve these dire problems. After 8 years of President Harris, any opportunity for me to fix the problem will be out of my reach forever. President Trump has told me that he wants this to be his legacy. I'm choosing to believe that this time he will follow through. His son, his biggest donors, his closest friends, and all support this objective. My joining the Trump campaign will be a difficult sacrifice for my wife and children, but worthwhile if there's even a small chance of saving these kids. Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country and our children is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other. That's why I launched my campaign to unify America. My dad and uncle made such an enduring mark on the character of our nation, not so much because of any particular policies that they promoted, but because they were able to inspire profound love for our country and to fortify our sense of ourselves as a national community held together by ideals. They were able to put their love into the intentions and hearts of ordinary Americans and to unify a national populist movement of Americans, blacks and whites, Hispanics, urban and rural Americans, inspired affection and love and high hopes and a culture of kindness that continue to radiate among Americans from their memory. That's the spirit on which I ran my campaign and that I intend to bring into the campaign of President Trump. Instead of vitriol and polarization, I will appeal to the values that unite us, the goals that we could achieve if only we weren't at each other's throats. The most unifying theme for all Americans is that we all love our children. If we all unite around that issue now, we can finally give them the protection, the health, and the future that they deserve. Thank you all very much.
Woo! Yeah, I kind of spaced out and lost track of what he was saying, but basically, he thinks he's gonna trust Donald Trump because he pinky swear to him that yeah, this time trust us. Well, I'll hire you, and we'll do everything we can to end the disease epidemic in this country. That was only 4 minutes of RFK Jr. just running his trap there. So here's another quick little one here. Hey, Dr. Nick. Thank you for joining us on Kick. Topher, thank you for joining us on Kick as well. Greatly appreciate that. Subscribe to my Kick channel if you haven't. Those links are all down in the description box below. Nick says Pinky swore. I'm pretty sure they docked dicks. Well, I don't know about that. I'm just saying, they Pinky swore. So this is. Let me try making this look bigger because I can barely see it. RFK Jr. just endorsed Trump will be removing his name from battleground state ballots.
And now, to throw my support to President Trump, the causes were free speech, the war in Ukraine, and the war on our children.
Yeah, well, so that's the reasons why he endorsed. And also, Trump will continue the wars in Israel. I'm sorry, I just lost track there for a second. He'll also be a Zionist, just like RFK Jr., which is another reason, the real reason why he endorsed him. And also, he wants a job, which is what he admitted to in that 4-minute clip, and exactly why he endorsed. So this is RFK Jr. suspends presidential campaign and endorses Donald Trump. So let's check this out. It looks good. Yep. Oops. Let me actually put on. There we go.
Everyone knows that I am not terminating my campaign. I am simply suspending it and not ending it. My name will remain on the ballot in most states. If you live in a blue state, you can vote for me without harming or helping President Trump or Vice President Harris. In red states, the same will apply. I encourage you to vote for me. And if enough of you do vote for me, and neither of the major party candidates win 270 votes, which is quite possible. In fact, today our polling shows them tying at 269 to 269. And I could conceivably still end up in the White House in a contingent election. Three great causes drove me to enter this race in the first place, primarily. And these are the principal causes that persuaded me to leave the Democratic Party and run as an independent. And now, to throw my support to President Trump. President Trump says that he will reopen negotiations with President Putin and end the war overnight as soon as he becomes president. This alone would justify my support for his campaign. Last summer, it looked like no candidate was willing to negotiate a quick end to the Ukraine war, to tackle chronic disease epidemic, to protect free speech, our constitutional freedoms, to clean corporate influence out of our government, or to defy the neocons and their agenda of endless military adventurism. But now one of the two candidates has adopted these issues as his own, to the point where he has asked to enlist me in his administration.
Yep. So that's what RFK ultimately was fishing for, a job. Because as he admitted earlier in the first clip that I played, he wanted to save us from the disease epidemic. So I assume he's gonna head up one of the Health and Human Services Department or something he wants in order to institute policies that he thinks will help us, at least when it comes to making us healthier. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. But yeah, quite frankly, I don't believe Trump will even. I don't believe Trump would hire him. I mean, like he did it to Chris Christie. When he ran in 2016, Chris Christie was the first one to endorse him, and the assumption was, well, I'm gonna get a job. I'll become attorney general or something. Nope, Chris Christie wasn't even hired for the administration. So if RFK Jr. really thinks that, excuse me, really going to trust Donald Trump, he has a whole other thing coming. So let's move on to a statement being put out by the Kennedy family, because of course they had to put out a statement. Let's get rid of that. They had to put out a statement. Let's see. So Tim Buck says RFK Jr. asked to talk to Kamala and she refused. Oh yeah, I'm sure if Kamala would have said, "Oh yeah, of course," I mean, I'll definitely give you a job in the administration, he would have probably endorsed Kamala. But she didn't bother meeting with him. So this is why RFK Jr. has decided to endorse Trump. And why won't this load? Because I need this to load. Bear with me 1 second. For some reason, this isn't working. Topher says, I'm a 14-time felon with at least 30 misdemeanors. It never works in court for me. Oh, come on. Why is this not loading properly? Alright, let's try this one because here we go. I don't know why that wasn't loading, but bookmarks. Here we go. So we got a statement here from the Kennedy family. So let me read this. Victor Shi, partisan hack. Holy cow, scathing response to RFK endorsing Trump, RFK Jr. endorsing Trump by his own family. When your own family has to do this, we should all listen. RFK Jr. is not a real Kennedy, except that he is a real Kennedy and he's RFK's son. So who's a Kennedy that Democrats will love? How does this make any sense? I don't know, but these are hacks for you. So when your family does this to you and betrays you in this way, I wouldn't want these fuckers in my family either. So I don't blame RFK Jr. for not really giving a shit what his family has to think about him. A statement on RFK Jr.'s or Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s announcement today. We want an America filled with hope and bound together by a shared vision of a brighter future. A future defined by individual freedom, economic promise, and national pride. We believe in Harris and Walls. Our brother Bobby's decision to endorse Trump today is a betrayal of those values and that our father and our family hold most dear. It is a sad ending to a sad story. So these are all the Kennedys who signed the letter, whatever. If they were my family, I'd tell them to go fuck themselves, but that's just me. Worked out today, and all that matters. Yeah, I need to work out too, but oops, if I did that, then that'd be nice. All right, so let's see. Anything else I had to talk about, Kennedy? Because I want to move on to the other stuff I had planned today. Because the Kennedy stuff wasn't planned because I didn't know that he would be, or I knew, but it didn't become official until right before the show started and all this stuff started breaking. So my thoughts on Kennedy dropping out? Hold on a second. I can show you this right now. This is huge. Let me show you why. If you see this, bear with me 1 second here. Yep. Oops, let me do this. Bear with me 1 second. No. Here we go. There you go. Sorry about that. So if you look at all this polling, it kind of shows why Kennedy dropping out is huge and kind of scaring the Democrats shitless. Because these are all Real Clear Politics polling averages. And as you can see, RFK Jr. has at least anywhere from 4 to 5%, nearly 6% in some of these swing states. Arizona, Nevada, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and Georgia. So you can see RFK Jr. anywhere from 4% to 5.8%. And most of those votes you would expect to go to Trump. So all of a sudden, if that happens, Trump is leading in Arizona, he's leading in Nevada, he's leading in Wisconsin, Michigan, he's leading in all the swing states. If most RFK Jr. supporters go to Trump, as everybody expects, as I expect too. Fucking motorcycles, they keep going. So this has Democrats scared shitless and very angry that RFK Jr. would do this and endorsing Donald Trump. So let's see. If you're on YouTube or something, just please give me a like. It's very important. Need the likes. So yeah, we'll get to all this in a moment, but let me get to this. As everybody knows, a few days ago, Richard Medhurst was arrested at Heathrow Airport. This was, what date is this? August 19th, which would put it at Monday or Tuesday this week. So, let's see. Dr. Nick says, Mark Halperin's podcast, they're saying the Harris campaign is back to square one as if Biden hadn't dropped out. I just showed you guys the polling in all the swing states. This is not good for Kamala Harris. It definitely doesn't help her. It hurts her big time. So, let's get back to Richard Medhurst. He was arrested. He says, I was arrested at Heathrow Airport under the Terrorism Act, Section 12, because of my reporting. 6 police officers were waiting for me at the entrance of the aircraft. I was held for almost 24 hours in question. I believe I am the first journalist to be arrested under this provision of the Terrorism Act. I feel this is political persecution and hampers my ability to work as a journalist. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure you guys seen this video. I have. The way he was treated, it kind of reminded me as a warning. Not only a warning to him, but a warning to all journalists who go against the British government and everything, and report things that they don't want you to report. So I'm going to play the whole video here. It's 8 minutes long. It's important, which is why I want you guys to watch it. And then I'll stop and play, give my thoughts,
My name is Richard Thomas Medhurst. I'm an internationally accredited journalist from the United Kingdom. On Thursday, as I landed in London Heathrow Airport, I was immediately escorted off the plane by 6 police officers who were waiting for me at the entrance of the aircraft. They arrested me, not detained, they arrested me under Section 12 of the Terrorism Act of 2000 and accused me of allegedly, quote, expressing an opinion or belief that is supportive of a prescribed organization, unquote, but wouldn't explain what this meant. One officer took my bags, and when I asked why he was still back in the aircraft, I was told, look, mate, you can get nicked right here in front of everyone, or in there, your choice. So I was taken to an adjacent room, patted down, my phone confiscated. I was not allowed to inform my family. Despite being calm and
100%.
cooperative, I was handcuffed with something that placed my shoulders in an awkward position and my wrists on top of, rather than next to each other. The handcuffs were extremely tight. Despite the police loosening them, they left marks on me for 2 days. The police took me down onto the runway, put me in a police van, essentially a mobile cage, and informed me that everything was being recorded. The van was cramped. I had to struggle the entire time to keep my balance and try not to fall over as we drove to the police station. Now, once inside the station, they searched me again for the second time within 10 minutes. I was told to sit on a bench, remove my shoes, remove my socks. I was told to turn my socks inside out and hold them up for the officers to inspect. They also made me hold up my feet so they could check them as well. The officers took me to a room with UV lights, which they told me is used to catch burglars who are sprayed with something. I have no idea why they did this since they just removed me off of a plane. My suitcase was then opened in the lobby and ransacked. All of my journalistic equipment and devices were seized, including phones, SIM cards, wireless microphones, headphones, even my shoelaces.
I would say this is an unbelievable story, but today, no. I'm not surprised this happened at all. The British government already did it to Julian Assange. They're doing it to other journalists. Now this is probably the worst I've heard so far. That when Richard Medhurst has gone through, it gets worse. It gets a lot worse. So, but yeah, I just wanted to say this isn't surprising to me, and it's unfortunate because it shouldn't happen, but it's going to happen. It's going to get worse. So let's continue.
They later took my DNA as well, my fingerprints, palm prints, and photographed me. I was placed in solitary confinement in a cold cell that smelt like urine. There was barely any light, and the bed, if you can even call it a bed, was simply a small concrete with a paper-thin mat. The cell had no windows, no heating, no toilet paper. I was recorded 24/7 with audio and video, even when going to the toilet. I had to eat food with a piece of cardboard that you were supposed to...
They recorded this man going to the toilet. It is a sense of humiliation there too. That, hey, we're going to record you even if you have to take a shit. We're definitely going to record that. So there's definitely a sense of humiliation in the sense that, you know, there's no privacy. Now you're a terrorist, you're a criminal. There's no privacy.
Supposed to fold in two in order to scoop up the meal. The police said that I have the right to inform someone that I'm locked up. So I said, okay, I want to call my family. And then they'd go, well, your calls are withheld because of the nature of the alleged offense. I tried to ask, well, what's the point of a right if you can just randomly withdraw it? Why tell me that I have this right at all? And one of them said something along the lines of, well, it's not an absolute right. It can be waived. Similarly, they said I had the right to know why I was being detained. 100%. So I asked again, and the police would say something like, well, we're just the arresting officers. We don't really know. Or this will be explained to you during the interview, or some other generic response. Now, despite the police officer's civility and cheerfulness, I felt that the whole process was designed to humiliate, intimidate, and dehumanize me, and treat me like a criminal, even though they must have been aware of my background and that I'm a journalist. I was under surveillance almost the entire time from the moment I was arrested until I was released, be it in the police van, in the station, the cell, all of it. No privacy whatsoever. Many of my requests were also delayed or outright ignored. When I was detained, I asked for water several times. The police would always say sure, but then I ended up waiting hours for a tiny cup of water. I asked if I could have my own clothes because I was in a t-shirt. It was cold and I couldn't sleep. They said they'd give me a pullover, but never did. Although one guard did give me a second blanket. See, you have to nag and nag for the most basic things. And this is why I was afraid that they weren't even going to call a solicitor for me. I was able to see the nurse on one occasion.
A solicitor, I'm guessing, is a lawyer, but that's like UK English or the Queen's English. So, but I'm pretty sure it means lawyer, solicitor.
But on 3 other occasions, when I asked to see the nurse, they'd say yes and then nothing. For many hours, no one in the world knew what had happened to me or where I was. Only the police could call a solicitor for me. I had to ask like 4 or 5 different guards.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Okay, good. That's what I thought. I don't speak the Queen's English or the King's English, so that's why. But I'm assuming solicitor is a lawyer. But turns out I was right. Thank you.
For several hours until I finally received a call. Some of my solicitor's calls did not get through or were not answered. One of the calls, my solicitor was told, would be monitored, and so they simply refused to take it. I asked to speak to the solicitor afterwards.
Understandably so. Did you hear that? It said, oh, well, I mean, we can let you call your lawyer, but we're going to record the shit. It's like, why would any lawyer talk to you then? You know, so I can't take this call because I don't want our conversation to be recorded. So, yeah, this is what governments do when you allow them to pass terrorism acts. Oh, yeah, we're going to protect you. Trust us. Let me pass anti-terrorism acts. Oh, it turns out that we're abusing the terrorist acts, and taking away your rights and, torturing you, basically. Well, I mean, you gave us the right. Same things happen here in the U.S. with the Patriot Act and all these other laws to protect us. But nope. As Benjamin Franklin said, I think Benjamin Franklin, look, again, I'm going to paraphrase what Benjamin Franklin says. If you were willing to give up your freedom for a little bit of security, you don't deserve neither liberty nor freedom. Something to that effect. I'm pretty sure I think I butchered it, but I'm pretty sure you guys understand what I meant by that.
It's when that happened, but I was not allowed to. In total, I spent almost 24 hours in detention. At no point whatsoever was I allowed to speak to a family member or a friend. After waiting 15 hours, I was finally interviewed by 2 detectives. The interview lasted about an hour and a half, maybe something like that. So there's clearly no need to hold me there this entire time. But I believe this was done on purpose to try and rattle me psychologically. That failed. I categorically and utterly reject all the accusations by the police. I am not a terrorist. I have no criminal record. Prior to this incident, I'd never been detained in my entire life. I'm a product of the diplomatic community, and I'm raised to be anti-war. Both of my parents won Nobel Peace Prizes for their work as United Nations peacekeepers. They had a tremendous effect on my worldview and outlook and instilled in me the importance of diplomacy, international law, and peace. I myself am a victim of terrorism. When I attended the British school in Islamabad, the Egyptian embassy adjacent to my school was blown up in a double bombing. I categorically and unequivocally condemn terrorism. I am a Medhurst. My family goes back 1,000 years in this country. I come from a long line of public servants. My father served in the London Metropolitan Police before entering the United Nations. He is an expert and an authority on counter-terrorism who taught me much. My grandfather was in the Royal Air Force during World War II, and his father...
So he goes through his history here. His family's been in the UK for millennia, seems like, so this isn't anything new, but it's unbelievable how they treated... Actually, no, it's very believable, because the UK gets a lot of their marching orders from the US, and the US treats journalism like or journalists like shit. So nobody should be surprised the UK is going further than what the United States has, because at least the United States has a First Amendment, even if it's been watered down and a lot of our First Amendment rights been taken away, but at least it's there. It's in the Constitution, technically. So we have that tiny bit of security. And I say tiny because it isn't much. In the UK, there is no First Amendment. So they can do whatever they want to you and, not respect democracy or journalism at all.
Father before him in the British Army in World War I. I perhaps don't have the same career paths as them, but I consider my journalism to be a public service and my way of doing my bit for the country by providing a counterweight to mainstream media. I love my country. I respect its laws and its legal institutions. I get the feeling, nevertheless, that those like myself who are speaking up and reporting on the situation in Palestine are being targeted. I had booked my ticket to London on the same day, and yet an entire team of police were mobilized to arrest and question me. This is why I felt that this was a pre-planned, coordinated arrest. Many people have been detained in Britain because of their connection to journalism, sometimes under the Terrorism Act, sometimes not. I think of Julian Assange, Craig Murray, Kit Clarenberg, David Miranda, Vanessa Beeley. As far as I'm aware, I'm the only journalist, however, to have been arrested and held for up to 24 hours under Section 12 of the Terrorism Act. Keep in mind the conditions that I outlined previously. The psychological element where you're made to wait endlessly. You've not been told what you're accused of, nor when you'll be questioned. Now, despite having been released unconditionally, I do not feel that my bail is truly unconditional. I'm effectively in limbo, not knowing if I will be charged in 3 months or if I will go to prison.
Yeah, that's 100% true. He's establishing his bona fides as a non-terrorist by claiming his lineage. Yeah, because because his family's been in the UK as UK citizens for hundreds of years at least. So why would he be involved in terrorism to attack his own country? Makes no fucking sense. But it doesn't have to make sense because it's not about that. It's about intimidating and humiliating him and, and giving a warning to all journalists, not just him. It's not just about him. It's about other journalists. Like, don't, if you come to the UK and you're doing real journalism, we can and we will come after you.
Journalism is my livelihood. I have an ethical and a moral responsibility toward the general public to inform. But I feel that a muzzle has been placed on me. I simply do not know if or how I can work at all during the next months. Palestine, the humanitarian crisis in Gaza, remain the most pressing news story in the world. However, it seems that any statement, no matter how innocent, how factual and well-intentioned, can be skewed and twisted into an offense of the highest order. This is precisely the danger and the absurdity of the Terrorism Act that I have always sought to impress upon the public, long before I ever became a victim of it myself. It is out of control. It has no place in a democracy. Counter-terrorism laws should be used to fight actual terrorism, not journalism. We cannot call ourselves a democracy as long as reporters are dragged off of planes and detained and treated like murderers. I am disgusted that I am being politically persecuted in my own country. Now, as I do not know if I can still report as a journalist for the next months, I kindly ask you for your support during these times. Freedom of the press, freedom of speech really are under attack. The state is cracking down and escalating to try and stop people from speaking out against our government's complicity in genocide. Please stand not just with me, but with the others who are still inside. I know what they're going through, and the best relief is to know that people on the outside are rooting for you and doing everything they can to get you out. Thank you.
So yeah, I mean, you guys, I usually I don't play the 8 minutes, but I'm this has to be done because we have to see what the UK government, and not just the UK government, but a lot of Western governments are doing in order to suppress journalism. So yeah, so that's 8 minutes. It scares. To be honest, it's scary because it's, you know, if you're covering in particular this has to do, I'm pretty sure, with his coverage of Israel. If you're going to cover what Israel's doing in Gaza negatively, this is what's going to happen to you, most likely. So yeah, I mean, it's very scary, especially if you're planning on going to the UK and covering Israel very um, critically. Here in the U.S., there's already discussions of passing an anti-Semitism law. They're passing an anti-Zionist law. If you even call it, they're gonna put Zionism in the U.S. as hate speech. Like being anti-Jew or anti-gay, or they're going to do that here in the U.S. So let's see. FBI going after Scott Ritter. Yes, I know. I saw that. They saw that. I saw that, and they were looking through his cars, and they were, So the UK is taking their Whoops, I mean do that. Taking their orders from the US, taking their examples from the US. All right. Hello, Kill. Make sure you give me a like. Okay, I'm all set for tomorrow. Pro Wrestling Talk, 8 o'clock Eastern. Okay, good. Because that was important too. Let's see. So let's do this because I can't barely see this. This is the Gray Zone. They also apparently got banned by YouTube for live streaming the DNC convention, which is something else I'm going to get to right now. So I'm going to play this video real quick. YouTube just banned us from streaming at the DNC. Our first stream for Chicago protest was removed on bogus grounds, and we were suspended for a week. But amid this political purge, we got into the arena to challenge media hacks officials that authorized the Gaza genocide. Stay tuned. So this is
Hey, what's up? We're at the Democratic National Convention 2024. We're actually inside this securitized city within Chicago. And we are unable to report from here on YouTube because YouTube has banned us for a week. They've given us a strike and they removed our first live stream, which was a live stream from the ground at the first march, anti-genocide march, outside the DNC against the Biden-Harris policy of supporting Israel's assault on Gaza. They just totally banned it on the grounds of what? Medical misinformation, because we covered the resurgence of polio in Gaza. I mean, can you believe that? And I didn't even say anything about the polio vaccine. There was no vaccine misinformation being spread. I didn't say it was bad. So it's obvious that this was a political purge designed to suppress our factual reporting, our critical reporting. Other people are being purged. You already know about that. People are even being arrested who are doing critical reporting on this, detained at airports. We're not going to let it stop us. We were just inside the building asking real questions about their support, elected officials' support, direct implication in the Gaza genocide. And they had nothing to say to us. They ran away. In fact, DNC staffers demanded that we delete our footage. We're not deleting our footage. We're doing the work that a lot of media is prevented from doing because of how securitized this is, or that the corporate media hacks refuse to do inside. And it doesn't matter if YouTube gives us a strike or they remove us, we will find a way, and we're going to be dragged out kicking and screaming.
So yeah, YouTube also banned Max Blumenthal in the Gray Zone from streaming for a week. So of course they did. Banned in the DNC and GOP, RFK, Jill Stein, 2024. Yeah, as long as you don't vote for one of the main parties, I don't care. Don't vote Republican or Democrat. Rich said that not only they took his cell phone and laptop, they took his microphones, even his earbuds. Yeah, they took all his stuff. I mean, They took all his stuff. Yeah, fuck you, YouTube, 100%. Fuck them. But I have to use them because they're, for now at least, until the other platforms get bigger. Because if the platforms are bigger, other ones, and they have no reason to keep using YouTube. But let's start with the Democratic National Convention. So I got many clips, but this is the first one I like. Democrats who paid money for tickets to the DNC convention named their favorite Kamala Harris policy. So let's see. Let's see policy here. What policy do they like? Hold on.
Can you be up for a quick interview?
Yeah, sure. Yes.
What's your favorite policy of Kamala's?
That's a hard one.
What's your favorite policy of
That's a hard one. Yeah, because she has no policies.
Kamala's?
Her being president.
That's your favorite policy position?
Oh, yeah.
How so?
Because it covers everything that she defends.
I'm really excited for her to restore reproductive rights across America.
How do you think she'll
Why
go?
does she do that now? Isn't she vice president? I mean, why do we have to elect a president to restore reproductive freedoms?
About doing that?
I don't know.
Yeah, you don't know.
Fun question.
I don't know. I'm picking and choosing. I mean, I really like most of them.
So you have to look at it broadly, right? It's about what she stands for right now.
What's your favorite of Kamala's policies?
I'm trying to think. Well,
I'm
actually,
trying
more
to
like where
think.
where Waltz comes in.
All of her policies, everything from I'm non-binary, and so all of the policies for basic
Non-binary. You're like a dude. You have the beard. Whatever.
human rights to have our own bodies and do with them as we please, you know.
Her willingness to move forward on affordable health care.
How do you think she'll do that as president?
Don't know.
I think she'll work to motivate the legislature to vote in favor of it.
As like her as a person, just like tops out any policy. I really admire.
At least that's honest. From that last lady, at least this is honest here.
I really admire her person, just like tops.
Yeah, I like her as a person. At least she's honest about it. Everybody else was like, oh, well, her policies, I don't know. I mean, at least that last lady was kind of honest there. Like, well, I like her as a person. Her policies don't matter. At least she was honest. The rest of these people are just bullshitters trying to bullshit these people. They're all fucking bullshitters. So let's see. So now we have more. We have this. Hold on. Let me actually. Yeah, he claimed to be non-binary, which was he looked like a dude. I mean, except he had a pink shirt on, but I don't judge for that. He looks like a dude. Let's see. Hobo says letting billionaires walk instead of doing their time for the felonies is one of the only known policies. Yep. A brain is a terrible idea to wash. So yeah, I just came across this today. Content creators at the DNC. I got dicked down at the DNC. That's literally what they said, by the way. So it's literally what these kids said. So the TikTok is a twink and a redhead. So that's their TikTok handle. Don't follow them, by the way. I'm just curious what it was.
Much more happens at the DNC than what people see. Oh,
And I just can't believe this happened to me at the DNC.
oh, I got dick down at the DNC. Oh, dick down at the DNC. Yeah.
Thank you for
so
having
much.
us.
Thank you guys.
It's been a real pleasure.
Yep. So they got dick down at the DNC. And honestly, I do believe that. I do believe him because if you go back to the RNC last month, there was a report that Grindr, the homosexual dating app, they had record business during the RNC. So I definitely do believe that a bunch of these horny young people went there and they spent most of their time having sex. And again, I don't judge, God bless, but but it's just weird that they just openly admit it like that. Oh yeah, yeah, I got dicked down at the DNC. So let's see the DNC. My overall thoughts, real quick, since my overall thoughts. Let's see. Yes, that's what they said. Dick down. That's exactly what they said. Erectile dysfunction. I don't know. There might have been erectile dysfunction there. I feel very secure in the future youth. Well, but my overall thoughts on the DNC, I didn't watch any of it. I just want to make that clear. All I saw are these clips that I'm going to play. And I had it, I think it was either night 2 or 3. I had it on my television just playing there while I was doing other shit. And this is all I heard. Project 2025, Russiagate, Russia's evil, Trump is evil, and JD Vance is evil. Um, I'm pro-abortion. It's over and over and over again. It's the same speech. Then you have over the top jubilation and celebration. Like they're acting like they're so excited about Kamala Harris when they're really not. There's no way you could be these people can be that excited about Kamala Harris. Zero, zip, none, zero chance in hell that they can be so excited about Kamala Harris, but they claim to be, and I just find it to be so like ridiculous. I already played that last week. No, I already did that. So let's go to the uncommitted voters. The uncommitted delegates, whatever the hell their name is, this organization, Uncommitted National Movement. That's what it is. They
backstage.
They were very upset throughout the convention, and they tried. They were desperate to get on stage, and have a speech for no reason, because we all know they're going to vote for Kamala Harris anyways because they're all Democrats. So yeah, they were really, really upset throughout this convention, and we're gonna start off with this clip from MSNBC at the beginning of the convention. This is uncommitted voters want to support Vice President Harris. No, you will support Vice President Harris. I'm sorry, this isn't like we want to. No, you will. But we need her to support a policy that stops sending weapons to the Israeli military that is using those weapons to kill people we love.
Stage at that Detroit rally, I had the chance to shake Vice President Harris's hand and tell her what I know to be true, that uncommitted voters and
I had a chance to shake Vice President Harris's hand. I love her so much, but I had to tell her the truth about what's going on with Palestinians. It's like the first thing he says, like I shook Vice President Harris's hand. Like, come on, like it's just absurd. Let's keep going.
And uncommitted delegates like me want to support Vice President Harris, but need her to support a policy that stops sending weapons to the Israeli military that is using those weapons to kill people we love, to kill civilians. And I asked her if we could meet with her to discuss that, and she indicated an openness to that. And I do find hope in the fact that Vice President Harris is engaging on this critical issue. But what's very important here is we, in the context of over 40,000 killed using U.S. bombs, in the context of the escalating bombings that are happening of Palestinian civilians in Gaza, of my own family members in South Lebanon. My aunt called me, told me she's sleeping right now with her slippers under her pillow, so that way in case the bomb drops, she has something on her feet when she has to run. These are real human beings that we love, that we're connected to. And so my advice to Vice President...
And you don't give a shit about them because you will vote for Kamala Harris, no matter how much she disses you or doesn't let you speak, which, by the way, they never got to speak, by the way, this convention, even though their only demand was to give a 5 minutes phony-ass speech, on the convention floor. They didn't even get that. So, yeah, this is just embarrassing.
President Harris is, if you want to address the essential demands, the essential cries of protesters, of activists, of regular everyday people all around our country who want to see a better approach. It's not a matter of a change of tone. Tell me, Vice President Harris, tell our movement, how do you plan to stop sending weapons to kill civilians who happen to be, many of them, people who are our family members, who are our siblings, people we love? I think it's a reasonable ask for us to want to hear about that ahead of this November.
Yeah, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, I mean, they just basically crying there and stuff. Let's see. Hey, Cowboy, thank you for joining us. I don't know why. It just, everything that I do is like hidden. It's like, Abandon Harris originally was abandoned, is a real grassroots organ. Abandon Harris, originally abandoned Biden, is real deal grassroots. Uncommitted is co-opted DNC loyalists. Yeah, I mean that's fair. I'm not saying they won't. They're not real, that organization, but the uncommitted people, no, they're bullshitters. They're just loyalist Democrats that they're just loyalist Democrats that just want a virtue signal and get their 15 minutes by being on TV. That's all that was. It's just what is that? What is that? I mean, let's see. More from the uncommitted movement. For 2/3 of my life, I believed the occupation of Palestine was necessary for my safety. June Rose, a Jewish delegate for the DNC. June Rose, a Jewish DNC delegate for uncommitted Rhode Island. Can't even fucking talk today. Let's watch.
For 2/3 of my life,
so we get more virtue signaling here.
I believed that the occupation of Palestine was necessary for my safety. I was 18 years old and living in Israel, studying at an Orthodox yeshiva. I'd never met a Palestinian, and I never knew anyone who had. It took 15 minutes from the wedding for me to realize that something was deeply wrong. So I went. I met the people. I spent time in living rooms in Ramallah, coffee shops in Bethlehem, mosques in Hebron, markets in Nablus. I talked to people my age who were trying to build a future in a militarized zone, where the humanity was erased every day. I finally saw the humanity on the other side of the apartheid wall. I realized that the occupation is maintained in huge part through the backings of Americans like me. I learned that Palestine needs our voices.
So we get really nice music, like that, and you get that piano playing in the background. We get a remorseful white Jewish person virtue signaling about how horrible what the Israeli government is doing to the Palestinians. But trust me, he'll vote for Kamala Harris. Believe us. He'll vote for Kamala Harris for sure. But, we're just getting virtue signaling for internet clout.
But now, as Israel punishes an entire nation, murdering over 15,000 children, I refuse the cheer that I was taught. The Democratic Party cannot espouse the values of freedom and justice and equality at home while being the party of death and destruction abroad.
I'm playing the world's smallest violin for this guy. You're still going to vote for Kamala Harris, so why the fuck are we even playing this game?
In the wake of a mass shooting, Democratic leaders are quick to say thoughts and prayers are not enough. I agree. As Vice President Harris takes a more empathetic tone, we say the same.
Vice President, he takes a more empathetic tone. Yeah, fuck the tone. Her empathetic tone, I don't give a shit. She's still bombing. Joe Biden's still bombing the shit. Or Joe Biden is allowing Israel to bomb the shit out of Palestine, and nothing is being done. And Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris is a little bit nicer about it, doesn't mean that the bombs will stop.
The same to her. Thoughts and prayers are not enough. We as Democrats cannot oppose Donald Trump's fascism at home while supporting Benjamin Netanyahu's genocide abroad. We need an immediate, permanent ceasefire and an arms embargo.
Oh wait, he's serious? Let me laugh harder. Ridiculous, man. Who takes these people seriously? Whoops, get rid of that shit. So the uncommitted movement throughout the weekend were very serious. You know, we got more fake protesting from them. We got some more fake protesting from them. Just before the DNC began, thousands of Democrats hit the streets with a clear demand for VP Harris. Hashtag not another bomb. A demand being echoed by the hundreds of ceasefire delegates this week. It's time for her to listen to the voters, unite the party, and change course on Gaza, which will never happen, by the way. Let's
Today we are gathered here on this National Day of Action to collectively demand across this country not another bomb!
lower that shit. Los Angeles, New York City, Boston, Washington, Portland.
In key swing states, people are more likely to vote for Kamala Harris if she supports an arms embargo.
Who cares? More virtue signaling, more protesting, all that bullshit. It's meaningless because we all know these motherfuckers, every single one of them, a part of the uncommitted movement, are going to vote for Kamala Harris. So, just a big giant waste of time and a big giant circle jerk. Dr. Nick says if they were serious, none of them would vote them. None. No, they wouldn't, but they will. They will vote them because they just want a virtue signal. It's not really about, actually helping these people and actually getting some sort of peace resolution. Now this is night 3. They were very upset and crying because they didn't get the little speech. Uncommitted delegates cry and hug as they stage protest sit-in outside the United Center on night 3 of the DNC, asking for a Palestinian American to be allowed to speak from the stage. They refuse to leave until they get a call from Vice President Harris to allow them to speak on stage. So we get a bunch more virtue signaling here and tears. So let's check this.
A father left last week to pick up. As I'm scrolling through, seeing
I didn't get a chance to speak
before my eyes of my own people.
Pathetic.
The nightmares
of Palestinians like Rima, an elected official from Ann Arbor. The voices of Palestinians like Rua. The voices of Palestinians like Sabrine. And since we're here, let me let you in more.
A father left last week to pick up the birth certificates of his 3-day-old twins. He got back and his house was bombed. His twins were killed by U.S. funded bombs. His wife was killed by U.S. funded bombs. His mother-in-law killed by U.S. funded bombs. 16,000 Palestinian children. Those could have been my children. That could have been me. That could have been me. My family could have been internally displaced to Gaza. So many Palestinians are not originally from Gaza. They're internally displaced now 10, 20, 30 times over. What more do Palestinians have to do? We want...
You guys get the point. I mean, they were really upset and crying. I don't care either, Nick, but, I needed a little bit. Just wanted to show you guys a little bit about their performative stuff because it still happened in the DNC, so it needs to be said. But as I've said many times before, they all still are going to vote for Kamala Harris. So what is the point of all this other than virtue signaling and grandstanding? That's the point. To virtue signal and to grandstand. So we got more tweets from the uncommitted movement, but I don't care enough to play them. Oh, so this was supposed to be the speech that they would give. That this was the speech that was supposed to be given. So this was the planned speech if they were allowed to speak. Look at this. I'm honored to be the first Palestinian elected to public office in the great state of Georgia, the first Palestinian to ever speak to DNC. My story began in a small village near Jerusalem, blah, 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 where my dad is from, blah, 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 blah. Just virtue signaling. But at the end of the speech, let's commit to each other to elect Vice President Harris in defeating Donald Trump, who uses my identity as a Palestinian as a slur. Let's fight for the policies long overdue, from restoring access to abortion to ensuring a living wage, to demand an end to the reckless war and ceasefire in Gaza. To those who doubt us, to the cynics and the naysayers, I say yes, we can. Yes, we can be a Democratic Party that prioritizes funding for our schools and hospitals, not for endless wars. That fights for an America that belongs to all of us, black, brown, white, Jew, Palestinian, like all of us, like my grandfather taught me, together. So that was the final paragraph of this lady's speech. And after all the bullshit she talks on top about Palestine, she goes right into let's commit to voting for Vice President Harris. So this was the proposed speech that's supposed to take place. Of course, didn't happen. And they're still going to vote for Kamala Harris anyways. So it's virtue signaling, performative bullshit. That's all that was. And I'm not very impressed. Cowboy Kitty, I don't feel the passion. It looks like crocodile tears. That's what I mean, no doubt. I 100% agree. Which is why I stopped that video after a minute, because there was absolutely no way that I was going to continue playing that and boring myself to tears. Yeah, pretty much blah, 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 blah. And the bottom, it's the standard Democrat talking points. Let's commit to voting for Vice President Harris and defeating Donald Trump. The top part doesn't matter. That bottom part is what they basically, what matters. It's just, so Hack here, Aaron Rupar claims, this has been a very emotional and remarkable DNC. Some of my favorite moments so far. AOC tearing the House down on Monday. Hillary Clinton getting a much-deserved moment of recognition. Biden wiping away tears before his speech. The lovely Harris-Biden embrace to cap off Monday. The incredible speeches from the Obamas. Oprah moving the audience to tears. And last but definitely not least, Gus and the Walls family. I don't know why I'm using that accent, but, just go with it, Just go with it. So, yeah, that was, his favorite moments of the convention. Me, I'm just very unimpressed. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Oh, right. We got more virtue signaling. This time from defeated Congresswoman Cori Bush. Still part of the uncommitted national movement. Let's watch her virtue signal for a bit.
We need the stages of the DNC to reflect the fullness of our party, inclusive of Palestinian Americans who are grieving and mourning and demanding better of their leaders. The Democratic Party prides itself on being the party of human rights. So when it comes to defending Palestinian lives and ending the ongoing genocide in Gaza, the Democratic Party needs to uphold those same values. All week there have been panels and events and speeches where the main topic of discussion is how Democrats are standing up to the threat of far-right extremism. But this is the thing. We can't run against the far-right Trump emboldened influences in our government and at the same time run towards far-right Netanyahu emboldened influences in Israel. By aligning ourselves with far-right leaders like Netanyahu, we compromise our own credibility and our commitment to the principles that we claim and we hold dear. We risk depressing the cautious optimism and the hope of the people we need to show up in November so that we can prevent more death and more destruction in America and in Gaza. And more than anything, we need an arms embargo now, and we need that commitment and that real commitment to policies that will end this genocide.
So yeah, we get more virtue signaling from Cory Bush and more from the uncommitted movement and their nonsense. So let's see. What else do we have here?
We need the stages of the DNC
Didn't
to
mean to
reflect.
play that again. No desire to hear that bullshit again. But yeah, there's so much virtue signaling and so much grandstanding. So we have an irony here that I wanted to point out real quick. I watched Jar Jar Banks speak at the convention as Dude Dissident shredded the clown show convention. Oh yeah, I mean I'm shredding it right now, but they did it live, and most people are shredding this convention. Most people that aren't Democrats, of course. So DNC speaker, I urge all of us to stand together, support sexual assault survivors, believe them, and hold the perpetrators accountable. These are the people who gave primetime speaking slot to Bill Clinton last night. Yep. Hypocrisy. Let's watch.
Against sexual violence, I urge all of us to stand together to support survivors, believe them, and hold perpetrators accountable.
Unless the perpetrator is Bill Clinton or Joe Biden, then no, we cannot hold them to account. If it's any other, especially right winger, then definitely we'll hold them accountable. Bill Clinton or Joe Biden, they're lying sluts, obviously, if women accuse Bill Clinton or Joe Biden. But other than that, I mean, anything else? Anybody else? Yeah, believe them, 100%. Believe them. Oh, you're accusing Bill Clinton or Joe Biden? You're the biggest fucking slut in the world, and you deserve to be raped. That's what they think in their tiny little heads. Because Joe Biden and Bill Clinton cannot be rapists. They 100% cannot be rapists at all, because fuck the uncommitted. I was gonna cover them more, but I'm sick of them. I didn't think I'd be sick of them, but I am, guys. So don't worry, I'm not gonna cover any more of that bullshit. Why don't they believe Tara? Good question. Because Tara dared to accuse Joe Biden. That's why. That's absolutely why. So let's Gretchen Whitmer calls Kamala Harris a total badass on the DNC stage. Oh God.
I know in a crisis we need someone strong enough to come up with a plan, to tell the truth, and to bring people together. Right now, before the crisis, is when we get to choose. Why wouldn't we choose the leader who's tough, tested, and a total badass?
A total badass. They can't be serious. But she is serious, guys.
I know who I want as our commander-in-chief. America, let's choose Kamala Harris.
But she is serious. That's the thing. She's 100% serious when she calls Kamala Harris a badass. It's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable, guys. I mean, I'm sorry. Let me just send this, and then I'll get back to the show. So. Alright, so except Harris, Biden, Trump, Gates, and all rich people are pedos. Our kids are now sluts. To these people, I wouldn't be surprised. Hey, Cynic. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you give me a like and all that other good stuff, because, I need as many likes as we can get. So, let's see. Let's get to more of this. So yeah, I mean the DNC was just an epic like disaster full of cringe. So now let's get to some brutal truths about Donald Trump. How evil he is. Republican Adam Kinzinger just hit the nail on the head about Trump at the DNC. I don't know why I have that accent.
Pretending to Donald Trump is a weak man pretending to be
Weak. He's weak, ladies and gentlemen. He's absolutely weak. Donald Trump's weak.
strong. He is a small man pretending to be big.
Remember, he's a weak man. He's a small man. Let's see what else.
Faithless man.
A faithless man. But I thought that Democrats weren't religious for the most part, and now they are kind of trying to wrap themselves in religion now because Trump isn't religious. Fuck, I mean, as long as they oppose Trump, that's all they care about.
Pretending to be righteous. He's a perpetrator who can't stop playing the victim. He puts on, listen, he puts on quite a show, but there is no real strength there.
Nope. No real strength. And yes, he got Donald Trump. Brutal, honest truth, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they love. That's what they want to hear about Donald Trump. Again, there's so many different ways to attack Trump for real. So many different ways. And this isn't it. This is just horseshit. This is just performative horseshit about how weak and small and pathetic that he is. Who cares about that? I know I have more clips than this. Yeah, so this is an MSNBC clip. Hello. Hello, Cynic. They're trying to make it till next Friday. Yeah, there's a Jesse Jet clip show. What time? 10:30 tonight. So after Angel in the afternoon, make sure you check that out. I'll be in the chat a little bit, so hang out with us at 10:30. We're gonna listen to some music and have a good time. So let's see. This is an MSNBC clip. Alex Wagner on the theme of outreach and empathy and national reconciliation running through the DNC this week. Just horse shit, but let's see.
The reality is that this man is the governor of Minnesota, right? And the signs, I'm sure of you in New York, say Coach Walz. They don't say Governor Walz, they don't say Congressman Walz, they say Coach Walz. And that is a very deliberate choice, right? I think what we have seen, if there is a theme that has run through some of the most prominent speakers at this convention, from Barack Obama to Bill Clinton to Tim Walz tonight, it is the theme of outreach and empathy and national reconciliation. Obama yesterday.
Outreach, empathy, and national reconciliation, which is all phony bullshit. I mean, if you actually hear the speeches, they were all divisive. They were all anti-Trump. They didn't. The whole point was not to come together as a country. It was to attack Trump and separate us. But the joy. I'll get more into this in a second.
Today was saying, don't demean your neighbors. If a parent or a grandparent occasionally says something that makes us cringe, we don't automatically assume they're bad people. Clinton tonight says, talk to your neighbors. Meet people where they are. Don't demean them. The football thing, the coach thing, that is a form of conservative outreach. The reliance on the football metaphor is a way of opening up the Democratic tent to skeptics, to people who feel culturally like they've been divorced from the Democratic Party for a long time and say, come on in. The water's fine. You will see yourself reflected in this.
Oh my fucking God. It's exactly what it is, Matt. It's pro wrestling. Like, I've said this many times before on this show and on other shows I've been on, and even my wrestling show, which, by the way, is tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. But theme is larceny mostly. Yeah, I mean, if you're at this convention, if you went to this convention and you acted like, a Democrat, you're just a mark. You're just a big old fucking mark. So let's see. What else can we do? I wanted to show you guys this. So if you guys remember from back in 2008 when Barack Obama ran the first time, what was the slogan? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. 15, 16 years later, I'm sorry, I think I have hiccups. Hopefully I don't. 15, 16 years later, instead of yes, we can, it's yes, she can. Yes, she can. Yes, she can. Yes, she can. What happened to we? What happened to, being together and working together? Nope. It's all about Kamala Harris. It's all about getting her the presidency. Just like with Hillary Clinton. Remember, I'm with her. It's very similar energy here. As yes, we can. I'm with her. Very similar energy because it's all about Kamala Harris. It isn't about any of us. Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it. Vince McMahon's evil mustache says we have way better actors. I do believe that. Steph says gag me with a spoon. Well, I mean, it's a complete pro wrestling storyline. I mean, this is what I've said and what others have said now. Don't insult what we do, Max. Yeah, I mean, it's still, I still have a ton of respect for wrestlers. So, but at least that's entertaining for the most part. So now let's get to this shit. Remember, the uncommitted movement over and over again told us they wanted to support Kamala Harris. They're desperate. But this is what Kamala Harris said during her speech. Nico House, great tweet here. Bookmark this and send it to everyone who keeps lying to the public, claiming Kamala will somehow be different than Biden on Israel and Palestine. So this is a part of the speech where she says, quote, I will always stand up for Israel's right to exist, and I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself. Translation, I will give them where the hell they want, and I will give Netanyahu all the weapons he wants to continue destroying Gaza. So that's the translation to that. Let's check.
I will always stand up for Israel's right to defend itself, and I will always ensure Israel has the ability to defend itself, because the people of Israel must never again face the horror that a terrorist organization called Hamas caused on October 7. Including...
See, there it is. There it is. I mean, terrorist organization, Hamas. Hamas. Yeah, see, they're the evil ones. Not Israel, who's just trying to defend themselves. So, let's see. I like this one. Hold on. Fred says, hashtag still with herring. Which is exactly what it's the I'm with her energy. That's what yes she can is.
Unspeakable sexual violence and the massacre of young people at a music festival.
100%. I agree.
What has happened in Gaza over the past 10 months is devastating.
Now we talking Kamala momentum.
Innocent lives lost.
So many
desperate, hungry people fleeing for safety over and over again. The scale of suffering is heartbreaking. President Biden and I are working to end this war such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination.
You hear that? You hear 5 seconds. 5 seconds to the Palestinians. 5. That's all she did. Palestinians deserve the... What did she say exactly? Yeah.
And the Palestinian people...
9 seconds, let's be fair. But this is what she said again.
Can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination.
While we bomb the shit out of them back to the Stone Age. We will bomb the shit out of them back to the Stone Age, and then they will get freedom, determination, and whatever the fuck else she said. So that's what will happen, ladies and gentlemen. They will bomb the shit out of them, and then they'll get their freedom. Maybe if Netanyahu allows them to have some freedom. Absolutely ridiculous. So we're gonna get to the media sucking off Kamala Harris. This was Chicago Sun-Times. A new way forward. As Harris becomes the first woman of color to accept the Democratic presidential nomination, she promises to fight for middle class and move beyond divisive battles of the past. Meanwhile, she calls Trump weird, and she calls conservatives weird, and she attacks Trump for ridiculous things, and she attacks conservatives for ridiculous things. But yeah, she wants to move on from divisive battles of the past, according to Chicago Sun-Times at least, and they're bullshit. So, damn right, the Chicago Sun-Times, they're full of shit. That's it. I already played that.
There are some.
So we got more cringe now. I'm gonna have to put you guys to some cringe. Kerry Washington, apparently she's an actress. I've seen her in some movies. I didn't know her name, though. Alongside Vice President Kamala Harris's nieces, teaches former President Trump and others who might be pronouncing Kamala incorrectly how to pronounce their names. Her name, sorry. So let's check this out.
It's come to my attention that there are some folks who struggle or pretend to struggle with the proper pronunciation of our future president's name.
She hasn't been elected yet. You calling her a future president is what they did in 2016. And after that, you guys were fucked. You guys were really upset because she lost, but I digress.
So, hear me out. Confusion is understandable. Disrespect is not.
You mispronounce Kamala's name, it's disrespectful. Remember that. That's very important for you guys to understand. If you mispronounce her name on purpose or by accident, still, it's very disrespectful.
So tonight, we are going to help everyone get it right. Here to help me are some very special guests. What are you here to do?
To teach you how to say your auntie's name.
Okay, so how do you pronounce it?
First you say comma like a comma in a sentence. Then you say la like la 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 la.
Put it together and it's 1, 2, 3, Kamala. All right, so let's practice.
Everybody over here say comma. Everybody over here say la.
Together.
That was beyond cringe. Like, to the point where I have no commentary on this. Do I need to say anything? How cringe this is? And on top of that, using Kamala's nieces to do this, and let's get rid of that. I can't even. That was embarrassing. I mean. All right, so we got more warmongering from Kamala Harris in her little speech. She spent, 45 minutes speaking? I didn't watch any of it. I just watched a couple clips here. So we got warmongering now from Kamala. As Commander-in-Chief, I will ensure America always has the strongest, most lethal fighting force in the world. I will fulfill our sacred obligation to care for our troops and their families, and I will always honor and never disparage the service and their sacrifice.
As Commander-in-Chief, I will ensure America always has the strongest, most lethal fighting force in the world. And I will fulfill our sacred obligation to care for our troops and their families, and I will always honor and never disparage their service and their sacrifice.
Yay! Let's continue the wars.
I will make sure
just repeating.
I will ensure.
But yeah, let's continue the wars. So she says, America has always had the strongest, most lethal fighting force in the world, and that will continue under President Kamala Harris. Yay! USA, USA, kill more people, kill more people. I thought Democrats were supposed to be anti-war. I guess not. As long as the nominee is Kamala Harris, no, they're pro-war. Oh, this is hilarious. Let's see what time it is. I have a little more time before I wrap up, but this is hilarious. So Jen Psaki is going to go on MSNBC, and she's going to claim that Kamala Harris is just as charismatic as Hillary Clinton. Not lying. She does say this.
This magical, charismatic quality in person. So do a lot of politicians. People say that about Hillary Clinton. Also true.
No, it's not true. Neither of those two bitches have any charisma whatsoever. I have more charisma in my goddamn pinky finger than Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton do in their entire bodies. But yeah, they're both very charismatic, according to Jen Psaki of MSNBC. Like you can't take these people seriously. Like what you cannot under any circumstances take these people seriously. So we have more war drums being beaten. This time from Obama's Defense Secretary Leon Panetta. When she takes her oath of office, our allies will cheer and our enemies will fear. Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
Americans, there is only one choice. One choice. And let me tell you something. When she takes her oath of office, as she will this January, our allies will cheer, our enemies will fear, and we will have a commander-in-chief that we can trust. God bless our veterans, and God bless our country. Americans,
yeah, so more war drums being beaten there, this time by Obama administration official Leon Panetta, which is nice. Here we go. More war will always happen. I've heard enough. I managed to stay away from all that shit. I know what they're going to say. They're full of shit, hypocrisy, are ready to build past them. I don't blame you, but I wanted to cover it and make fun of these people because they deserve it. So we get more propaganda. The most important election of our lifetime talk now from Kamala, from the vice president. This election is one of the most important in our life of our nation. Don't we hear that every single election? Like, we hear that every single election. This is the most important election of our lifetime. Just imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails, how he would use the immense powers of the presidency of the United States. Not to improve your life, but only to serve the client he's ever had. Himself. Ironically, why are you running, Kamala? For yourself. For your own power. But please, let's pretend Donald Trump's the only selfish one here.
Fellow Americans, this election is not only the most important of our lives, it is
tonight,
one
cynic.
of the most
10:30 Eastern, right?
important in the life of our nation. In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man. But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious. Consider not only the chaos and calamity when he was in office, but also the gravity of what has happened since he lost the last election. Donald Trump tried to throw away your votes. When he failed, he sent an armed mob to the United States Capitol where they assaulted law enforcement officers. When politicians in his own party begged him to call off the mob and send help. He did the opposite. He fanned the flames.
No, he didn't. He's very specifically stopped it. Like, he literally said, just go home and stop rioting. He didn't do what Kamala Harris has claimed here, what he did. So, of course, this is lie. This is bold-faced lie. Let's just, let's pretend Donald Trump is this existential threat and evil, even though it's ironic because this is what the Democrats exactly are.
And now, for an entirely different set of crimes, he was found guilty of fraud by a jury of everyday Americans and separately found liable for committing sexual abuse. And consider what he intends to do if we give him power again. Consider his explicit intent to set free violent extremists who assaulted those law enforcement officers at the Capitol. His explicit intent to jail journalists, political opponents, and anyone he sees as the enemy. His explicit intent to deploy
Her cadence is just so grating. She's lying here throughout this and just giving us her bullshit, but her cadence here is just so grating and just so ridiculous. That see, this is the vice president formally accepting the Democratic nomination for the presidency of the United States. This isn't that long.
For the people. In the courtroom, I stood proudly before a judge and I said 5 words: Kamala Harris for the people.
Yay!
And to be clear, my entire career, I've only had one client, the people. And so, on behalf of the people, on behalf of every American, regardless of party, race, gender, or the language agreement.
She spent the entire speech attacking Republicans and Donald Trump and their supporters. But then at the end, at this part of the speech, he turns around and says, well, we have to come together as a country. Why in the world would we all come together when you just attacked? Sorry, I just moved my mic. You just attacked half the country, like Hillary Clinton did. But you want to bring us together. It's ridiculous.
Your grandmother speaks. On behalf of my mother and everyone who has ever set out on their own unlikely journey, on behalf of Americans like the people I grew up with,
It's 100%.
people who work hard, chase their dreams,
And go fuck yourself. I've had enough of you. I have to. So let me see. Anything else we gotta. La la la. I think you guys get the point. I'm just gonna wrap up in my commentary here because it's almost 9 and I need to go. So my final commentaries are this: the DNC was a joke. We have nothing. It was nothing but Democrats going up there and basically giving the same speech over and over and over again. And there were a whole bunch of Republicans that came up and gave speeches. And, in the it's a Democratic Party throughout the night. Yay, we love Kamala so much. It made me so happy to see her. She's going to win. Meanwhile, I think, and this is just my opinion, I think that a lot of these rank and file Democrats are just like the animals in George Orwell's famous book Animal Farm. They tried. A lot of these rank and file voters or Democrats are former Bernie supporters from 8 years ago. Because there were a lot of new Democrats who popped in then, and and they tried the revolution. Because if you know the book, basically the beginning of the book, the animals were working for the humans. The animals were tired of the humans, so they tried to do a revolution. So by the end of the book, it turns out that the pigs that were the leaders were just as bad, if not worse, than humans, because and they were apathetic and they gave up, and they just kept working, but this time for the pigs instead for the humans. So, everybody see me? Oh, I don't know. I just melted down there, kind of. Just I stopped moving on the camera. So yeah, the Democrats, the ranking file of that convention reminds me of that book, except instead of being apathetic and giving up and acting like they're apathetic and just going through the motions, it's the over the top celebration. It's like it's the over the top celebrations, like, oh, yay, we love Kamala. Meanwhile, inside they're just hopeless and ridiculous, and just they're done. They're just gonna do what the party bosses tell them to do because that's what they do. You know, that's what the only thing they know how to do now because their revolution failed, and now they're stuck in the party. They have no choice. Well, those are my thoughts on that, on the DNC. Everything said is painful to hear. The bar gets lowered every day. Yeah, I mean, the bar is insanely low. Now Kamala Harris giving a okay speech and not falling flat on her face now is presidential, and she deserves to be president. So this will do it for Angel in the Afternoon this week. I'll be back next week, August 30th, which is the day before my birthday, and we will be having on a few guests, which includes Miss Witchy Perfect, where she's in the chat there somewhere. Alex Knight, I expect to be back next week. I expect Taryn on stage to be back next week as well. And I expect, hopefully, a few other people to come on for my little birthday bash next week. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hope all you guys in the chat will join me too, because what we'll be talking about, I have no idea. But we'll see, because there'll be a bunch of stuff, I'm sure, breaking, and we'll be following the polling and stuff. So I'm turning 38 years old on Saturday, next Saturday, but we'll be doing Angel in the Afternoon on a Friday, so we'll be celebrating my birthday then. Hopefully we have a few people come on, but I'm 38 years old next Saturday. So cake, definitely having cake on Saturday. I do know that. Friday, it would just be me and the show. Saturday's pro wrestling talk, which will be on my birthday. So I'm hoping to have guests on there too. We'll see how that turns out. But so yeah, tomorrow's pro wrestling talk, episode 25. We're gonna have a good time there Saturday night, and will there be party favors? I don't know. We have to tune in. Tomorrow night's pro wrestling talk. Why? I feel like I got something in my throat. You'll have to tune in next week to find out, because I don't know yet. Thank you. Early birthday wishes. I appreciate it. Well, those are my thoughts on the DNC. That's this episode of Angel in the Afternoon. Yes. So pro wrestling talk is tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 Pacific. We'll be doing a Rumble. Second hour will be a Rumble exclusive. We'll be covering more wrestling. Check that out. Have some fun with us, And Sunday, I'm doing an episode of Steph's podcast. So that won't actually upload until September, but I'm doing it tomorrow. So I'll be seeing a lot of stuff this weekend. And next weekend is Angel in the Afternoon birthday bash, my 38th birthday. Then we'll do pro wrestling talk that Saturday on my birthday, the 31st. And, all that, so yeah. Damn, I'm a year older than you. My birthday's on the 14th. Oh, happy birthday, man. I mean, I didn't know that. So, yeah, so those are all my cheap plugs, my shameless plugs. That'll do it. But seriously, I do need to go. So I want to thank everybody for joining me for this episode. Make sure you make sure you subscribe to all the channels. Links are down there in the description box below if you haven't already. Share, comment, all that good stuff. Just help me out. But yes, I do love Steph very much. I would have to, because I see her a lot. But seriously, I do love her. So yeah, that'll do it. I'm gonna see you guys tomorrow night for Pro Wrestling Talk. If you're not, if you're not gonna watch Pro Wrestling Talk, make sure you do. I mean, please hang out with us. But we're definitely back for Angel in the afternoon next Friday. Birthday bash. Make sure you check that out. And wow, mine's the 31st too. Topher, mine's the 31st too, which is why we had the same birthday. Happy birthday on the 31st too, man. I'm singing happy birthday next Saturday and go to Rumble only. Okay, sounds good. I'll be looking forward to that. Until next time, though, seriously, I'm going to see you guys tomorrow night. Have a nice weekend. Stay safe. Don't drink too much. And we'll see you guys on Friday. Make sure you check out the Jesse Jet Clip Show on INN's YouTube channel. It starts at 10:30, I believe. I'll be in the chat for a little bit, so make sure you join us.